Right now we're about to get on a little fisher boat. For thousands of years, there are regions of the world that have been considered impossible for the gospel. Geographical reasons make places difficult to locate, grueling climate zones are considered unbearable to survive in, and religious authorities at times create life-threatening situations to be in as a Christian. All of this resulting in a very specific region of the world being declared as too hard and too dark. However, two men would be a part of changing the fate of this region of the world forever. I want you to take a look at these two photos. The person on the left, that's Samuel Zwemer, and this one here on the right, that's Bishop Thomas Valpy French. Both of these men, although not growing up even remotely close to each other, have one thing in common: a desire to see Jesus known in the Muslim world. January 9th, 1891. These two men from completely different places in the world crossed paths on a boat in the Red Sea, which sparked a conversation and experience that would impact us to this day. The conversation was about this place here, Muscat, located in current-day Oman. Samuel Zwemer was thinking of settling down here and making it a place for their missions journey to begin. However, due to Bishop Valpy French's previous commitments, he decided he couldn't do that. So they continued onwards on their previous agendas. Samuel Zwemer's was to continue scouting the Arab Gulf, and Bishop Thomas Valpy French continued onwards to Yemen, India, and Pakistan. Now, this is where things take an interesting turn, because Bishop Valpy French doesn't decide to go home. He adds one last stop to his trip, and that's a place called Matra, Oman. We just landed at the international airport here in Muscat, Oman. You see, before this place got its name changed in early 2018, the name of the airport was actually Sib International Airport, which is very significant. However, beyond the interesting location of this airport, there's a way more enriching story that's been written, a story of sacrifice and obedience, which has led to some of the greatest impact in the Muslim world. And to fully understand this, there's a place we have to visit. So we've just made it out to this little cove, and way out here, there's actually a graveyard. Bishop Thomas Valpy French finally makes his way to Oman, where he didn't waste any time, and throughout his journal entries you see that he spent time in cafes, reading the Bible, sharing the gospel, praying for lepers, praying for healing, until one day he feels from the Lord to go to a city called Sib, which is a distance away, and he feels like he's supposed to go there to prepare the way of the Lord. And on his way there, he gets extremely sick from fever. It's hot, it's summertime in Oman, and on his way back, he dies. And I remember when I heard about this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's 3 months since he arrived. He's only been there for 3 months. How did that create an impact? And then I realized that his life and what he had done in those 3 months is impacting what is happening today. So this grave right here, this is the grave that I'm looking for. It's the grave of Bishop Thomas Valpy French. Remember that boat they met on, here in the Red Sea? Well, Samuel Zwemer experienced something here in that coastal town Jeddah that changed his life. It was a boldness, it was a courage. A boldness that he realized could change the Muslim world forever. And now that is because in this coastal town Jeddah, Bishop Thomas Valpy French would carry around his big, thick Arabic Bible and begin sharing the gospel and God's plan for salvation. He even writes in his journal about sitting on the doorstep of an old blind man and that people would all gather around to listen, some even desiring to have their own Bible. Now that boldness that Bishop Thomas Alby French carried impacted Samuel Zwemer. So when news of Thomas Alby French's death came to Samuel, he knew that it was a legacy that had to be built on. So Samuel Zwemer invites his brother over to begin a school, and then later on a hospital for lepers, resulting in them slowly but surely begin to impact this region of the world. Now fast forward into Samuel Zwemer's later years, he became a highly recognized person in the student volunteer missions movement, catalyzing thousands of youth to go into the missions field. In fact, due to Bishop Thomas Alby French's influence on Samuel Zwemer and Zwemer's involvement in recruitment during the student volunteer missions movement, 14,000 people were launched into the missions field. Many of them going to regions of the Muslim world. All of those people that came out of the student volunteer missions movement have paved the way for the workers today, just like the workers today are paving the way for the workers to come. So a lot of this is standing on each other's generation, standing on each other's feet, standing on each other's work, standing on each other's obedience and sacrifice to see Jesus become famous here in the Muslim world. As you remember in the beginning of this video, we landed in the international airport in Oman, and I talked about the significance of this airport, and you might be wondering, so how does this airport tie into all of this? When Bishop Thomas Alby French fell from the Lord to go to Sib to prepare the way of the Lord, and it seems like that obedience unto death went to waste, like it seems like it was pointless. But when you look at it now, the international airport of Oman is currently located in Sib. And before it got its name changed, it was actually called the International Airport of Sib. The results of Thomas Alby French's obedience 110 years ago is resulting in workers coming to the Muslim world today, entering through an international airport located in the town that he went to prepare the way of the Lord. I want to end it with what someone wrote about Samuel Zwemer and kind of the challenge for us today. And this is what it says. I'm going to read it because it's kind of long and I don't remember all of it. It says, "For today the number of lost Muslims is much greater than it was when Zwemer dedicated his life for their salvation. But the number of Christians who are seeking to save them is pitiably inadequate. The doors are open, but who will go? The walls are falling, but who will occupy the city? The fields are white unto harvest, but the laborers are few." I genuinely hope you guys enjoyed this whole story, these two people's lives, the significance of this airport I'm standing in, the significance of this place, the significance of the Muslim world, and that you feel motivated and inspired and even filled with hope that even 125 years ago, God sent a man to prepare the way for today.